City laid down marker for next season, Messi could leave Barcelona, Chelsea are hot on Digne's tail, a transfer roundup, and today's Friday feels all coming up in the next few minutes as I'm your host Matt Froelich, you are the Onefootballers, and this is the Daily News. First up, Manchester City laid down a marker for next season as they want their title back with a 4-0 thrashing of Jurgen Klopp's Liverpool. This was rather unbelievable. Now, on the one hand, I'm inclined to say, Liverpool fans, don't worry. It was just a 4-0 loss, right? It's very unlike Liverpool. They've already won the title. Maybe they took their foot off the gas. I wouldn't read too much into it unless the rest of the season is an absolute horror show. But the two main talking points for me from this game are, first off, Kevin De Bruyne is the best player in the Premier League. I've said it before, I'll say it again. There is no doubt about it. He is so far clear of everybody else. It's astonishing. It's unbelievable. And if you were to pick any player of the year, regardless of the fact that Manchester City have won the title, it has to be De Bruyne. He's just insane. There were so many small bits as well that really just showed his class. I mean, the second point as well is Phil Foden. Now, I know those you always say, oh, Matt, you and maybe the other English media outlets are always talking about English players, overhyping them. They're worth this much money, they're this, they're that. Phil Foden has come into the squad. He's been given a chance in the big games. He's played against the champions last night, an unbelievable Liverpool team, and had an astonishing game. A brilliant game. 4-0 they won. He was a massive part to that, and it's clear that when Pep Guardiola says that he's a big part of Manchester City's future after David Silva's leaving, he really means it. And this has to be the game that shows, okay, I'm not saying Foden's going to be unbelievable. I'm not saying he's going to be a world beater and win Ballon d'Ors and be worth 150 million, but at least put some respect on the kid's name. He's like, what, 19 years old? And doing that to the champions of England? Yeah, I think we need to start taking him a little bit more seriously. I mean, for Foden's goal, brilliant awareness, great pass. De Bruyne played it in front of him, not back to him, so he had space to run onto, and a great finish with his weaker foot. Anyway, as I mentioned before, I wouldn't read too much into it, Liverpool fans, because you're still champions of England. Despite this, though, there was another game on last night, and so many of you messaged me saying, Matt, can't wait to see your reaction. Are you going to be super annoyed? Should Jose Mourinho leave the club? But Tottenham, my word, shocking. I mean, again, I got 2 points to this game. Firstly, there's a big VAR call, but we'll talk about that in a second. Secondly, though, Tottenham just don't have the mentality. They just do not have the balls to go up there on a bit of a cold night to Sheffield. They don't really fancy it when they're going to be proper up for it, Sheffield United that is. Tottenham just do not have the mentality within the squad to win it. I just don't know what it is that you look at the players and it looks like you've already lost this. You haven't even started the game, but you've lost this. And it seems that when one decision goes after the next and then they go in 1-0 down at half time, are they strong enough to cope with this and turn it around? It just looks like they're not. It's going to take a big person to change this mentality. Either the manager, and it doesn't look like it's happening at the moment, or the chairman. And the chairman is not setting the right precedent with what he's going for. It's money over players, and that is not helping Spurs. But having said that, this is by far, I'm going to say it, the worst VAR decision I've ever seen so far. It's unbelievable to think that Lucas Moura, who I'm not sure he was fouled. He probably just overran the ball, knowing Lucas Moura. I'm not sure he was fouled. He was under a bit of pressure. Anyway, he fell over. And as not even any athlete, not professional footballer, as any human with 2 legs and 2 hands will tell you, when you fall over, you put your arms out to break your fall. Otherwise, you just faceplant on the floor. Not only does that look ridiculous, it probably hurts, and it's very unnecessary and against all human nature. Moura puts his arm out. His arm maybe grazes the ball before the Sheffield United defender smashes the ball against his arm from 2 centimetres away. The ball deflects a million miles off to Harry Kane, who then scores, and that is a handball. You're telling me that's a handball? I'm not even biased. For those of you who really know and really watch the show regularly, I'm not a biased football fan. I give props where props are due, and if they're not, whether it's Tottenham, whether it's Arsenal, whether it's big rivals, who cares? I'm honest about this, and that is a ridiculous VAR call. Absolutely ridiculous. And the thing about it as well is they had to review it so many times to check that it grazed his arm. I thought VAR was in here for clear and obvious errors. That is not clear and obvious, judging by the fact they had to review it about 50 times for about 2 minutes. That's the thing. Like, would anyone, put it this way, would anyone blame the referee if he'd have missed that handball? That's the question you've got to ask about VAR. If everyone would have blamed the referee, they would have blamed him because it was a clear and obvious mistake. No one would have blamed the ref for smashing the ball, missing a defender smashing the ball at Lucas from 2 centimetres away. Unbelievable stuff. Anyway, enough about that because Spurs weren't good enough for the rest of the game and things definitely need to improve. So aside from that rant, let's go back onto some transfer news. Apparently Lionel Messi could be leaving the club next summer. Who would have thought it? Apparently in his contract he's got the opportunity to leave at the end of every season for nothing, basically because it's a lifetime contract with Barcelona and they obviously love everything he's done for the club, so they're giving him this freedom. He won't be leaving this summer, but his actual paperwork contract does run out next summer. Now in the last few days, his former club, Newell's Old Boys, have apparently said that he would love to return to Argentina. Rather, they said they'd love him to return to Argentina. Not quite sure whether that's going to happen, but he may be leaving at the end of next season. Now, of course, there is no truth to this rumour as well, no confirmed truth, but basically everyone's kind of putting 2 and 2 together. Barcelona are in a bit of a state. Last night, Real Madrid won to take them 4 points clear at the top of La Liga. It looks like they might not win La Liga. They're not going to win the Copa del Rey. It's going to be tough for them in the Champions League if they're just relying on Messi. So if you kind of put that alongside the fact that he doesn't really want to be on a sinking ship's a bit harsh, but doesn't want to be on a downward spiral with the team, kind of makes sense that he might decide to leave at the end of next season. He will be 34 by then as well, but I don't quite see him leaving the top of European football just yet. Moving on though into another bit of transfer news, and again it slightly involves Manchester City, but more so Chelsea, and the fact that they're looking at Everton's Lucas Digne as a potential replacement for Marcos Alonso and Emerson. Now, it's been well known that they've been after a left back this summer. First, Alex Telles was touted about joining the club. Looks like he'll be heading to PSG. Then there's Tagliafico from Ajax, who for some reason no one seems to be bidding for just yet. There's also been Ben Chilwell, but he's going to be very, very expensive just because he's English and playing in a Champions League spot club. Although Leicester may finish outside of the Champions League places, so that could change the price just a little bit. Anyway, the next one is Lucas Digne, the former Barcelona man who's been in brilliant form at Everton, and I can actually really see this one happening. He'd be a brilliant fit for Chelsea, for their style of play. He's also very, very good going forward and at set pieces, and the same thing kind of goes at Manchester City as well. Benjamin Mendy isn't too reliable because of his injuries. I'm not sure whether Zinchenko has the ability to go to the top level. And with Lucas Digne being a former Barcelona player, he knows about the Pep Guardiola way, and I think he'd really fit in as well, just as well as at Stamford Bridge at the Etihad. Alongside this, and I'm not saying it's necessarily related, but Niels Nkunku, the French fullback, has signed for Everton on a free transfer. Now, he is an under-19 player at the moment, but maybe, just maybe, they're looking a little bit towards the future with him and the potential sale of Lucas Digne. So next up, and a quick roundup of the rest of the day's transfer news, and Leroy Sané's move to Bayern Munich has been confirmed. A bumper contract for him. As well as this, Achraf Hakimi's deal from Real Madrid to Inter Milan has also been confirmed as he has signed for the Serie A side. Apparently, if Chelsea are willing to let Kepa go this summer, Sevilla are the ones who are interested the most for a year-long loan deal. And last but not least, we spoke about it briefly the other week, and it looks like Liverpool are still interested in Thiago, as the 29-year-old has said he will not be signing a new contract at Bayern Munich, which runs out next summer. So last but not least, we come to Friday Feels. You guys know what this is. It's where you leave your footballing predictions for the weekend's football in the comments section below, and we read out some of the correct ones on Monday. Now, 3 big games this weekend that I'm going for across 3 different divisions. First up, and the DFB Pokal, that is the German FA Cup final, if you like, between Leverkusen and Bayern Munich, and I can only see one winner, and that being Bayern Munich. Lewandowski will probably score as well. I'm going to go for a 2-0 victory. Elsewhere, and in the Premier League, I think Wolves and Arsenal are going to play out a rather entertaining 2-2 draw, as both of them look to tighten their grip on a Europa League spot. And last but not least, in the Championship, I'm going to go for QPR to get a massive 3-0 victory away at Middlesbrough against their former manager Neil Warnock. So that is all from me for today. Let me know your thoughts on Friday Feels in the comment section below, and everything else on the rest of today's daily news. Be honest, because I'm going to be honest. Was that really a handball from Lucas Moura? I just can't get it out of my mind. Anyway, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash the like button whilst you're there and click here or here to check out all of the other videos we've got going on OneFootball. And until next time, have a great weekend, and I'll see you guys later.